Hello, this is Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech, talking today about the Instagram account that I've got set up that covers magic related stuff. It's under the same name as my Twitter, Sartorus. About 90% of it is magic related, and about 50% of it is actual trade posts. 40% is some game in action shots or other interesting things that I've found around the local Seattle area or wherever I end up going traveling. So I'm going to take a little bit of time today and talk about a few of the trades that I've done and what I was kind of thinking when the trade happened. I'm going to try to avoid letting people know which side of the trade that I was actually on, although with one or two of these it'll be pretty obvious. The idea is to try to give people an idea of the process that I go through when doing trading. So on this first trade, we've got Gamble and Gixprobe on one side, and we've got Thran Dynamo, Gilded Lotus, and Kiki Jiki on the other. When each of these photos comes up, take a second, maybe even pause the video, and try to figure out which side of the trade you want to be on. The Gixprobe there is foil, and this was a pretty easy trade for me. The idea on one side here is that Gamble is really hot currently because of Dark Depths. It's jumped up a bit. Gixprobe is also just a wonderful, useful card. Thran, Dynamo, Gilded Lotus, and Kiki Jiki are staples for EDH, and a little bit in Modern there with Kiki, because he's created one of the major archetypes. So I think both sides has its plus and minuses. Gamble is an eternal card that's always going to have value and probably never going to see a reprint in the modern environment. Kiki, though, could jump up a lot this summer. So which side of this particular trade would you want to be on? In between each of the different trade ones, I'm going to show you some other pictures from my Instagram account, just interesting things that I've seen throughout the city. These were done on my tablet or older camera phone. I do have a higher quality camera that I'm going to try to use for more Instagram stuff in the future. Also, these are some altered artwork pieces that were done at the last Card Kingdom PTQ. There's another Card Kingdom PTQ coming up this weekend, and I'm sure they'll have somebody doing card alters there. This trade was a little bit rougher. There's a Liliana foil on the top and a Dark Confidant foil with two Scoozes foil. Which side of this trade would you rather be on? Here's a quick gameplay shot that was taken from a turn 2 kill by Dredge Vintage versus a Vintage Storm deck. I was piloting the Storm deck here and I got crushed. I thought I had one more turn before needing to go off, and I was really short one item in order to be able to go off. Vintage Dredge is just a monster. This trade's one that's going to be a little more confusing for a lot of people out there. At first glance, it looks like the top is just blowing away the bottom, but note that on the bottom, those are unlimited dual lands, and the Domray is foil as with the Charbelcher. The conditions are pretty reasonable. Most of the dual lands are slightly played to maybe an MP+. All the newer cards are in really, really nice shape. This is really a trade that focuses a lot about, are you a player who really wants cards to play in Modern and in Legacy, or are you a collector that's trying to pick up some rare cards? The unlimited cards in particular are about 10 to 20 times rarer or tougher to get a hold of than the revised, and finding them in good shape is very, very difficult. The value on the unlimited at this point is only about 30-35% greater, so probably an extra $60 or so on each of the unlimited duels over the revised duels, but the rarity makes them really tough to find and really tough to find in good shape. This was an alter artist that I really liked her work from the Star City Games event that was held out here in Seattle. The Bidens are really nice. Gaddock is a wonderful EDH card also. Trade number 4 here. This one is a little tougher. You've got Jite, Sacred Foundry, and Flusterstorm on one side versus Noble Hierarch, and that's a Japanese Enlightened Tutor. This is an oddity that I ran into the other day at Dreaming Comics. It is a Elemental Blast that has the German text of Unholy Strength on it. It's a test print from Wizards. I probably can't see it, but at the very bottom, the copyright is actually done in French. So it's French, German, with mismatched picture on it. They're asking $1,000 for it, although I'm pretty sure they would be negotiable on it. Extremely rare misprint out there. Trait number 5 here is one where I think a little bit of cognitive bias may have leaned into me giving a little bit worse trade than I really intended to here, although I'm still happy with what I got out of it. There's 2 foil Mox Opals and a foil Relic Progenitus versus a foil Liliana, an Inquisition of Kozilek, and a Sword of Fire and Ice. Now, when I talk about cognitive bias here, I traded for those Mox Opals at $35. So it was very tough for me to wrap my head around the fact that they're really a $160 card right now. So at the time, I thought I was getting a really good deal trading for this foil Lily, the Sword of Fire and Ice, and the Inquisition of Kozilek. Long term, I think this is probably an equal deal, as I think Lily could become the next Jace in Modern, a very, very sought-after, iconic planeswalker. I really enjoy her, but Mox Opal also might not see a reprint anytime soon, and if it doesn't, it has the potential to become a really high-priced staple in the environment. This is Eric Kirby's work. Some really cool little pins made out of Magic the Gathering cards. I really like this reuse artwork. I found this in a local store in Pike Place Public Market. This is the trade that I've probably gotten the most flack over recently, saying that I was a bit crazy to do this trade, which means you can probably guess which side I was on. One side here has 4 foil Lilianas and a regular Batterskull. The other side has 2 LP Underground Seas, an LP Bayou, and an MP Tropical Island, along with foil Cavern of Souls, and then 4 regular Cavern of Souls, 2 of those being Russian, and then 4 Lilianas and a Shrine of Nykthos. This is another one that really comes down to, are you looking to invest, are you looking to collect, or are you looking to get a lot of playable cards? Both people in this trade walked away extremely happy. I think that long term, Lily has a huge amount of potential, but as a player, players would definitely value this bottom side because of how many playable cards are there. It's also kind of a classic example of trading up. If you're trading more cards for density of cards, you often end up giving a little bit of value. Understand that that's a cognitive bias that you've got to be aware of when making trades. This is a cool little box that I found the other day at a place called Ancient Comics. In Burien. It's a time spiral box. I don't know how many of those are out there, but I would much rather have these in my closet than the little white long boxes for keeping track of cards. Very cool little oddity there. This trade has 2 regular Lilianas for a foil Deathrite, foil Blood Crypt, foil Watery Grave, and 2 Overgrown Tombs. Very curious to see what people's thoughts are on this particular trade. This is an Antiquities booster pack. It's at Golden Age Collectibles, one of the oldest comic book shops out there in the US. It's $200. It's one of the few packs that I do not have for my upcoming pack cracking series, although I don't really want to put $200 into a pack, especially since these older packs are very easy to search. I'm not saying that Golden Age has searched this one. It looks to be in pretty good shape. But it's very difficult for me to put out that kind of money for something like this, although I'd love to add one into the pack cracking videos. I actually went through about 180 of these boosters when I was much, much younger. This was one of the earlier sets that I bought pretty much all of the boosters I could find and cracked a lot of it. Trade number 8 here is a little bit of a weird one. The thing to realize is that the Stinkweed Imps up there have a misprint on it. Foil Delvers there, foil Tombstalker, foil Bow of Nylea, foil Searing Blaze, and foil Searing Blood. So this is another one with collector versus player. The Celestial Colonnade, the Courser of Crewfix, and Inquisition are extremely playable. I'm very happy with the side of the trade that I got here. Curious which side people would be on. This is an oddity that I found over at Greenlight Games. I had never actually seen these sealed before. These are sealed white border foreign revised in German and in French. Very, very cool decks. Chance to get a near mint Underground Sea out of them, or possibly even 2 dual lands. I believe that the way that these are collated, you could get a Bayou and a Tropical Island in the same deck. I'll show off these in pack openings later. I traded for one of these in a trade with someone later. Really, really like seeing older stuff like this opened. Trade 9 here. This trade in particular exchanges Dark Confidants for Dark Confidants based on artwork. A dual land for shocks that are foil, and then we've got an Iona and an Anger of the Gods there, and some Cavern of Souls. This was done about a month ago or so, so the values on these have changed a little bit. I will let you know which side I was on for this one. The Iona there is destined for a video where it's put in a blender. These are some holiday cards. I wish I was able to get a better shot of these. These are a friend's collection of holiday cards. I will definitely get a better shot at some point. Very cool oddity cards. You run into them a lot here in the Northwest, but I never see them anywhere else because they're given away to Wizards employees, friends of the company also. Last trade here, this is one from about 2.5 months ago, so keep that in mind when you're looking at the values here. The Underground does have some play on it. There's slight play on both of the ports. The Underground is definitely more of an MP plus LP, maybe LP if I remember correctly. Very tough trade. Both people walked away from this trade very happy, curious which side you would want to be on, or if you can even put yourself back in time by a month or two, which side you would have wanted to be on then. Last one that I've got here is an oddity that I ran into at Shane's Big League Sports Cards. It is a promo pack with a foil lightning dragon in it that's square cut corners. So it's a miscut that is still in the original packaging. I haven't seen this online anywhere else. Very, very interesting one that they've got. They don't have it in their case. If you head over there, definitely ask to see this if you're interested. They've got it in the back. Really interesting, one of the earlier foils that was done. Thanks. This has been Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech. I appreciate all the sponsors that are out there, and if you're interested in sponsoring the channel, please give me a shout out. I should be back to some cool live play videos here soon. I've got studio being set up right now, which is going to include hopefully a dredge video and a pack opening of Modern Masters within the next week and a half.